Hey guys! The other day I did a video sort of as a field test to see how this alcohol ink palette worked, and I was really impressed with the results, especially when I pulled out the Sukiniko Fantastic. And I have the brush tip, and I went to Joann's the other day and I also bought some of the bullet nibs to see if they behaved any differently. And something I had noticed when I swatched them originally using a Prismacolor colorless blender is it looked like they were markers running out of ink. But when you get when you use a Fantastics dipped in rubbing alcohol, just plain rubbing alcohol, you can get these nice wide swatches of color. And if you're interested in that, I highly recommend you watch that video. Today, though, we're really going to just kind of expand on that, because since doing this, I decided to fill in some more colors on my ink palette. So I have since added YG07, Lettuce, Bottle, Indigo, Mermaid, Stream, Eggplant, and Cranberry. And I also have some browns that I would like to add, but I just don't have room right now. I might have to clean something out or use something up. But since then, I also ordered and received the White Snow Cap Mixative, as well as an alcohol blending pen, the alcohol blending solution, and I purchased in store the craft nib holder, which is sort of their solution to the alcohol palette and the Fantastics. And they're out, the Adirondack alcohol pen arrives empty, and you need to use tweezers that are not included. Fortunately, I have Copic tweezers, and it says to pull the brush nib out by the metal base of the nib, insert the blending solution, squeeze for 3 to 5 seconds to fill, lay pen horizontal, oh goodness, and repeat 2 to 3 times, being careful not to overfill. Boy, this thing has oh, and it's not for use with the mixatives. Oh, but you could probably fill the color in this if you wanted to. I actually have some empty Copic sketches that I'm going to put some Ranger colors in that are not available in Copic, or that I don't own in Copic, like Mermaid, Stream, and Bottle. So this is our empty blending pen. It is really big. It has a, if I can get the tip off. There we go. It has a brush tip and a sort of bullet tip. So it doesn't really have anything designed to cover large areas. And they wanted us to remove the brush tip to fill. Oh, no wonder they said use tweezers. That thing is sharp. Tweezers, that thing. Oh, wow, I goofed that. Because my tweezers slipped and nipped the tip a little bit. I hope that's not an issue. All right, so this is my first time using their blending solution. I usually use Copic, or if I'm feeling really cheap, I will use rubbing alcohol. So 3 to 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have to lay this big honking thing horizontal. And I mean, this thing is just, this is so involved, considering this thing doesn't even come filled. I got mine on Amazon. All right, 5 minutes. So at 6:20, I can do this all over again. So doing a little research, I found that you can get the empty pen as an add-on item for $4.04, or you can get it on its own through BIMS or some other name I can't even read, to be honest, for $14.99 with $5.49 shipping, or $12.98 with $4.56 shipping. You can also buy the Ranger bundle, which includes the blending solution, the blending pen, some of the, it looks like just one of the mixatives, honestly, the stamper and the refill stamps, and some cardstock for $37 plus $10.29 shipping. You can also buy from Ranger directly the alcohol bundle, which is the blending solution. It looks like Snow Cap. the pen and some cardstock for $22. So really, these suckers aren't cheap, and I feel like a sucker, but I bought it for the purposes of review. I've been trying to sort of mix up what I do, and the pin itself says that it should be filled with the alcohol blending solution, which I purchased just for this, used to blend dry alcohol inks, so on a palette like that. And then it has the instructions on the barrel itself in case you're bad and you already tossed it. So I guess what I would like to do is when this is finished, I'd like to do some swatches of my color, sort of revisit this notion, because this isn't really accurate, and see if just see how different it looks, or see if I prefer their blending pen, or if I'm going to prefer the craft nib holder, or if I prefer the Fantastics. And I'll probably use just plain rubbing alcohol with the Fantastics. Oh, making a mess. Plain rubbing alcohol with the Fantastics, because I mean, really, what's the point of like a big investment? And I'm going to be doing my swatching. Actually, maybe I ought to use this as an opportunity. Hang on. So not recently, I purchased the Ranger alcohol ink surfaces, and it comes with this mirror surface, a gloss, and a matte. I'm sure you guys would love to see how it looks on the mirror surface. I'm curious about both the gloss and the matte, though. It's 25 pieces, so it's probably, yeah, it looks like they were cheap when it came to the foil. 5 sheets of foil and 10 sheets each of matte and gloss finish. So I think I might actually try swatching on these for you guys. And we'll see how we feel about them. Now, I want you guys to keep in mind that I am not a card maker. I'm not a stamper. I don't even necessarily consider myself a crafter, although I do make some crafts for my convention table, and I do enjoy making things. I primarily consider myself an illustrator and an artist, so the sort of expectations I have may be overly high for these products, and you may feel like I'm being harsh. You might be perfectly happy with these, and I think that's great. I think it's great if you're happy with these, and don't let my opinion throw you. If you enjoy something, don't let me shame you out of it. But if you're an artist, or if you're just sort of thinking about getting into these things, and you're not sure if you want to invest the money yet, then by all means, please use my advice. I hope it's helpful for you. So it's been 5 minutes, and we can, woo, all right. I didn't think I overfilled, but it is a little bit leaky. It feels damp already and leaky. All right, so I am going to remove the nib again, and I'm going to, maybe I ought to wiggle it out with my fingers, because there we go. Get you started there, buddy. Gotcha. All right, I'm going to do another squeeze of this. I wonder why it's leaking, because I'm following the instructions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, it's like not even going out if I don't squeeze it, so I have to squeeze it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wish, like Copic, and I can grab that for you guys in a minute, the Copic Various Inks, the smaller bottles, like the desktop size, they have milliliters marked out for you to know how much you're putting in your marker to avoid overfilling. Trying to get this nib back in. Dang, what a pain in the butt. And I think my nib's like all catawampus now. I'll fix that one in another 5 minutes. Let me grab my Various ink. So this is the Various ink. I might as well remove the sticker. It also has sort of a pour spout, but it has milliliter gradations on it, so you can tell how much you're putting in. Whereas this bottle, it doesn't have any. It wants you to count, which is fine. But I mean, if you squeeze it hard, a lot's going to shoot out. And if you squeeze it lightly, nothing's going to shoot out. And I thought this was neat because it is white pigment in a alcohol solution. So I thought this could be, I mean, just interesting. I like buying stuff to just kind of play around with it. And that's why I talked to you guys about it, sort of give you an idea of, you know, whether it works or not. So we've got the foil. We've got, and I purchased my, purchased these things from a lot of places, actually. That feels like matte. That feels like photo paper, so that's gloss. I'm going to go ahead and write on it. And mark on myself, as always. Because I am in the middle of recording footage for a large marker and paper compatibility thing. So I do want to give every marker the best shot I can. So it would be unfair to treat the alcohol palette too differently. I mean, I was pretty satisfied with the results from the other night. It wasn't the best thing ever, but once I hit a stride, it turned out better than I thought it was going to. And, you know, these palettes might be more portable for you. They might be more economical for you. If you're splitting your colors amongst friends, this is a cheaper way to do it. The small bottles of Ranger alcohol ink are, depending on where you get them, they're $3 to $9 for a pack of 3. So they're a little bit more affordable than the Copic Various Inks or the Copic markers can be. To finish my prior thought, I actually bought these things on all different places. I get my rubbing alcohol on Amazon because I don't leave the house because I'm a hermit. I got my alcohol solution, my Snowcat mixtive, and my blending pen on Amazon. I got my Fantastics. I got one set of the Fantastics at on Amazon, the other at Joann's in person. I got their craft nibs and nib holder. At Joann's. I got my alcohol ink palette empty on Amazon. I got the craft mat I'm now using to stop myself from staining the table at Joann's in person. And I got a lot of my Ranger inks from Overstock, as well as these cardstocks, mostly just because they take Bitcoins, and I have some Bitcoins to spend. So I figured, why not? All right, so it's been another 5 minutes. Whoa, it is very wet. I think it's overfilled at this point. So I'm going to stop. Even though the instructions say do it more, I'm going to stop. But I am going to try to reseat this annoying little nib. And you would think for such a big marker, you would get a bigger brush nib, more similar to, say, a Copic Super Brush, but no. And the barrel of you would think the nibs are replaceable, huh? I bet they are. Words. The barrel of the pen says it is made in Japan. So that's like the hot thing, I guess, when it comes to nibs, is the Japanese style brush nibs. So let me go ahead and do a quick demonstration, hopefully demonstration, on the cardstock. So this is a Blick Studio brush marker. It doesn't really matter. It's an alcohol marker. Now, this should affect it. And it does. And the way it affects it is it pushes it. Oh, shoot. You guys can't even see that. See, right there, that's where I applied the colorless blender in this huge honking thing. I don't know why this thing has to be so big. So, yeah. So I'm going to do my first test on my own paper of choice using the palette, which is what it's designed to be used for. Except it's so big when it's open. I wish it would like fold all the way back or tuck under or dehinge or something. As I try to figure this out. So I'm going to test it on Strathmore Vellum Bristol first, because this is a paper I use often. It's a paper I like. And I'm just going to swatch my whole library. And see, already we're getting the whole, this looks like a dying marker sort of effect. 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 I'm also not going to any great precautions to really clean out my nib, mostly because I just want to demonstrate to you guys sort of the effects of working with this kind of thing. Because this is very similar in application and technique to the Prismacolor one I was using the other night. So, of course, the effect is pretty much the same, because we're not really getting enough alcohol out, even with this possibly overfilled blender. We're not getting enough alcohol out. And boy, I mean, I'm kind of miffed that he's selling these things empty, and then you buy the blender solution, and it, you know, like not everyone, but he acts like in his videos like this is such a great system, and I'm just like, well, maybe if you've like never used any other brands of alcohol markers, it's a great system. But and I'm cleaning my brush because that red is just like not gonna want to go anywhere. It just, the whole buy an empty brush, fill it up yourself just to get like the blender is ridiculous to me. It's no wonder I don't really see a lot of crafters on their videos using this particular brush, because like, why would you? Copics come pre-filled, Prismacolors come pre-filled, pretty much every other alcohol marker option comes pre-filled, so I don't know why this one wouldn't. And these are my new colors. Oh, all right. I guess I could have filled lettuce. Is it lettuce? Yeah, lettuce up a little more. So, some of these were Copic Various Inks. The top is Copic, and the bottom is almost entirely Ranger inks. And as you can see, regardless of system, when you apply it with a blender marker, again, regardless of brand, they both give the result of like a marker that's drying out. But, and here's my chance to test out their craft nib holder, which is it's used to make custom markers with paint, chalk, dye ink, pigment ink, watermark, resist ink, and embossing ink. Craft nib replacements are available in packs of 10 brush nibs. So press flatten a craft nib in a craft nib holder until securely in place. Place the craft nib holder into ink, paint, or other mediums and color. So what they're assuming is we're working with something wet for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of the blending solution in this little half pan watercolor tray, and it's the same half pan watercolor tray I used in my other video where I used the Fantastics. Ah, yes. Everything is going to be loose now. I love that. So this goes in here. Oh, wow. That's all right. Okay. Okay. So basically, those of you who are familiar with like dip pins, it's basically like a gutted dip pin body, right? So if you're familiar with that, if you're good with those, this is the same kind of thing with it looks like compressed fiber nibs. So not as cute as it looks in the videos he does, right? No. I wonder how he gets them so much better. Let's try this though. So I'm filling this little tray with blending solution. And this is alcohol based, so it is going to evaporate. And let's get our marker to soak up some of this. And let's try again. It is literally like using a dead marker. All right, so this is a little bit better. It's a little bit more similar to the Fantastics that I demonstrated in the other video. Let me get you guys on top of it. Especially once your nib has soaked up sufficient solution. This might be great for like finer details or maybe faces. A little bit less of the dead marker thing going on here. Although still not as juicy as somebody who uses alcohol markers regularly might want. You're not getting as much saturation. It does, however, allow you to sort of control the intensity of the color you're putting down a little more easily. So those of you who like chameleon markers, you really might enjoy this method of rendering too. And I'm not dirtying my alcohol ink solution nearly as much. Not that that's like a deciding factor, but it's just before I was like really having to clean out the whole tray when I was switching colors. With this, I mean, I am using less because I'm just doing a swatch. Here we go. See, the color's like that red. Oh, see, and the red basically has entered my craft nib forever now. Hopefully not. Let's see if I can get some off on a piece of scrap paper towel. All right, let's give this brown another shot. So I am pretty sure the Ranger markers are a little bit, or the Ranger inks are a little bit more viscous, concentrated than the various inks from Copic. So they have a tendency to just like cling more to the nib and be harder to clean out. And this nib is more compressed than the foam nibs that Tsukiniko makes, the Fantastics. So you do have to be a little bit careful, more careful about cleaning them. So that was basically everything, all 9 of one row of various inks and all 9 of another row of Ranger inks. And I'm cleaning out my craft nib. I still really like the Tsukiniko Fantastics. I still think they're great, and I still think there's a place in my studio for them. So I'm going to check back with you guys in a little bit with my gloss, foil, and matte paper test with this ink palette. So I'll see you then.